guys, basically I'll be checking out real life WWE couples who were hated backstage from WrestleMania. Okay, let's go.
WWE couples who were actually hated backstage: John Cena and Nikki Bella. A news surfaced online that John Cena and Nikki Bella were dating in 2012, and upon this news leaking out, some fans instantly assumed that Cena had been and was going to continue his backstage sway to have Nikki presented in a prominent role on TV. It wasn't until 2014 when concrete reports circulated that Nikki was starting to get disliked backstage, and she obtained backstage heat mainly due to dating WWE's top guy. A report from PW Mania at the time stated, according to reports, there is some resentment towards Nikki within WWE as they feel she let her fame get to her head. Twin Magic sees herself as a sports entertainment organization's top diva due to Total Divas and a relationship with the reigning WWE World Heavyweight Champion. She constantly brags about expensive things he buys her, which is viewed as crass and tacky by her colleagues. The report continued saying, Nikki's twin sister Brie does not have this reputation behind the scenes. Just as she's portrayed on Total Divas, Brie is genuinely well-grounded and mature. She's well-liked among her WWE peers. It's not all negative on Nikki though. Her in-ring performances at house shows where more time is allotted to wrestle has earned her praise from Triple H. This was at a time period in which Nikki was pushed as the face of the women's division. She notoriously ended AJ Lee's historic title reign at the 2014 Survivor Series, and she was pretty much presented as a top draw of the division. While some backstage heat was understandable as Nikki's booking did somewhat change, she did manage to improve during this era. Ultimately, this backstage heat came at a time where fans and the rest of the roster were crying out for the presentation of the women to change. The women's roster in NXT were killing it by having show-stealing matches, and the fans as well as numerous names backstage wanted this implemented across the main roster. Nikki's WWE tenure may have been helped by Cena's backstage influence, yet her popularity and legitimate drawing power both on TV as well as shows such as Total Divas and Total Bella simply can't be denied. Number 2. Edge and Lita. Edge and Lita having an affair was a story that shocked the wrestling world in 2005. It turned out that Lita had cheated on Matt Hardy with Edge, and to make matters worse, Hardy and Edge were legitimate close friends, so this completely broke Hardy. When Hardy embarked on an online rant which was completely justified, WWE decided to outright fire him. This naturally received widespread backlash as fans as well as fellow wrestlers questioned what on earth WWE were thinking. Although Hardy was eventually brought back into the company to work a scripted feud with Edge, Edge and Lita had some of the worst backstage heat ever. A report from 2005 stated that Edge's backstage heat was so severe that nobody wanted to be seen being associated with him, and in essence, he had become a total outcast from the rest of the locker room. WWE executive Bruce Pritchard reflected on Edge and Lita having backstage heat on his Something to Wrestle podcast, and this is what he had to say.
And as far as Adam and Lita kind of being ostracized a little bit, yeah, there were, I think, guys that looked at it, the bro code, and felt that not cool, Matt's at home. But at the same time, look, I'm not gonna take sides here. Life happens sometimes, and as you say, they're on the road, they're in the car for many hours every single night in between towns. Shit happens. I'm saying right, not saying it's wrong. It's just life. Life happens sometimes.
Whilst the backstage heat was apparent, it never impacted Edge and Lita's presentation on TV, as both were pushed as the top heel act in the company. Just a matter of months after the affair was revealed to the world, Edge won his first WWE title in WWE, so in a bizarre and unexpected way, the affair actually helped take his career to the next level. Number 3. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. When Triple H and Stephanie McMahon began to work together on screen in late 1999, the scripted romance soon turned real as the game and Vince McMahon's daughter caught legitimate feelings for each other. This was going to cause issues, as a wrestler dating the boss's daughter was going to upset a lot of people backstage, and of course, it was going to anger Vince McMahon himself. Additionally, it was believed that Triple H was still dating fellow WWE star Chyna, and although it's worth noting that Triple H has often claimed that the relationship was over by the time he started to date Stephanie. According to Stephanie during an interview with the HuffPost, Vince initially gave his blessing for the two to date, yet he quickly rescinded this, and Stephanie seemed to imply that he was pressured from the locker room to try and shut down the relationship. It was not always just all roses. We were given permission and then it was taken away. In terms of the reasons why, I don't know if he was getting pressure. It was a really big thing in our business for a top star to be dating the boss's daughter and all of the implications it could have. According to Triple H in the WWE Attitude Era book, when it was revealed that he was dating Stephanie, he had heat with absolutely everyone in the locker room, even people who were his friends. Interestingly, one name who didn't seem to have an issue with the two dating was The Undertaker, who didn't believe it was anyone's business. The game was fully aware that there may be an asterisk by his name for his entire career, as some believe everything will be handed to him simply because of the relationship, and it wouldn't matter how good he got as a WWE star. The relationship would always be cited as a reason for any success. The stigma of Triple H dating and subsequently marrying his way to success is still around, especially with Triple H basically running WWE. However, in terms of the backstage stigma, it has pretty much become obsolete. Triple H is extremely well liked by his peers, and the same can be said for Stephanie. Both had to work hard to overcome this animosity, and they've clearly done this through hard work and showing that the relationship was as real as it gets. Number 4. The Undertaker and Michelle McCool. The details of The Undertaker's personal and private life were kept strictly confidential, but that was until he began to date fellow WWE star Michelle McCool. Due to The Undertaker's status as one of the most legendary wrestlers of all time, as well as the locker room leader, it definitely had a major impact on McCool, and rather quickly after the two began dating, McCool obtained significant heat backstage. A report from Wrestling Inc. at the time indicated a few weeks ago, Natalya Neidhart was reportedly upset with McCool due to behind-the-scenes incident involving the two in which McCool tried to show her how to lock up correctly and how to work WWE style, which is more about telling a story in the ring than doing a bunch of random moves. Also, since McCool is involved in a real-life relationship with The Undertaker, it would appear that some of the resentment and jealousy towards her is due to that. In other words, when a diva is dating a superstar wrestler and then gets a push, that's obviously going to get people talking. But while this story may have been true, McCool's in-ring work during this time was some of the best on offer when it came to the women's division. McCool was incredibly over as a character, and one time her and Melina delivered a pay-per-view match that was so good that the two got in trouble, as it could have overshadowed the male wrestlers on the specific pay-per-view card. It's up for debate as to whether The Undertaker positively influenced McCool's career, but McCool truly did shine in the top position she was placed in, and whenever she would make appearances in matches such as the Royal Rumble, it's evident that she's just as talented as the current crop of women on the WWE roster. Appearing on Chasing Glory, McCool herself addressed the rumors of backstage heat, and this is what the former women's champion had to say. "We fought and clawed our way onto TV screens, and it wasn't cool to date the guys. So I had to struggle with the heat of being with Mark Calloway and people thinking I was only on TV because of him. It was hard to enjoy these moments because of the stress and what it felt like was taking place 100% of the time." McCool even revealed that the backstage heat was the main reason she left WWE in 2011. "It was tough, just leaving in itself was tough because I got to the point where I was dealing with so much, again being mostly Undertaker's girlfriend and why I was on TV, and even having a writer throw the papers up one day and say, why don't we just call it the Michelle McCool and Undertaker show?" It's alarming that the backstage heat was so substantial that McCool found it fitting to exit WWE. No wrestler should be put in this position for simply dating a co-worker, and it's a shame that the final stages of McCool's WWE tenure wasn't an enjoyable and pleasant experience to her. But there you have it, folks, real-life couples who were hated backstage.
Yeah, good video by WrestleMania. That was real life WWE couples that were hated backstage. That was a great video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in this video. Peace.